Mercenary, it is well that you are returned. A creature that seemed like a dead thing came. It claimed you had sent it.
Yeah, he's a potential ally. Don't worry about it.
I fear I attacked him, and arrested him. He tried to talk to me, but I felt safer with it under guard, considering his face.
Where is he now?
He is with the Red Scribes.
Perfect. What can you tell me about Mathras?
He is a most unusual being. Do you realize he has been alive for over 6,000 years?
Don't you get the impression that he's just talking bullshit?
Even though at first sight, such a long existence sounds impossible, he has knowledge of history that makes it very difficult for us to doubt his word. And his appearance speaks for itself, if I may be so bold.
It's true that he does look a bit ripe.
As far as I understand it, he regularly changes his bodies. As soon as the one he's taken starts wearing out, he procures a new frame? What is really fascinating is that he is the kind of undead that was previously unheard of. We had no idea there was a being able to transfer their soul from one body to another in order to keep living. Remember that his knowledge could very well turn our vision of mortality upside down. And of course he might provide unhoped-for help against the Lords of the Frozen Shadows.
What did I tell you? Once they've recovered from the shock of my somewhat shriveled appearance, everybody thinks I'm highly useful.
He could really help us out. If we could only be sure he wasn't working for the enemy.
You insult me yet again. Joining forces with a band of apprentice sorcerers with a thirst for power would be unworthy of my condition. And didn't I already tell you how to enter the city?
Some basic information that got you into our camp. That seems pretty clever to me.
Really? What would be in it for me? Not that the company of these scribes is unpleasant, but I doubt that our simple little discussions will affect the course of the war.
I can confirm that he hasn't ever been alone. But you look a bit preoccupied with something. Am I right?
The commander says there's a traitor in the camp, and our new friend is obviously a prime suspect. What if he can read minds?
Well, I think that the commander is wrong. We've spoken for a long time with Mathras, and I don't believe for a second that he's got anything to do with your problem. It's obviously very difficult to detect telepathic communication, but as far as I can see, there's nothing to indicate he's capable of it.
Very well. I'll just have to trust you. The mercenary salutes you, Knight. I have a few questions I need to ask you. The elves took a hell of a beating, huh?
Defeat is commonplace when treachery lurks nearby. The Ice Lords used trickery and magic. The elves had no chance. This was a battle without honor.
That may be, but they beat us. Now we only have the scattered remains of what was probably the most powerful army anyone has seen in an age. Doesn't it seem a little hopeless?
This whole war is without hope. But since the Knight and his companion are here, they might as well fight until the bitter end.
Edwin, I need to speak to you.
What can I do for you?
I would like to ask you a few questions. What's the story with this Mathras guy? Who is he?
It's hard to say. He's one of the living dead. Of that I'm completely certain, but he is able to do things no other species of revenant has ever done before. You must understand that necromancy, the magic that allows the dead to be reanimated, is based upon one principle: giving energy to lifeless bodies. Mathras functions differently somehow. It is not his body that has been brought back to life, but rather his mind, which has survived his body.
He says he's 6,000 years old. You believe that?
It is entirely possible. His spirit is in theory immortal. This magic is far different from that which is practiced in Vertiol. Instead of drawing energy from the world heart, he draws energy directly from the body he is possessing.
Could that have anything to do with the Ice Lords or my demon?
Absolutely not.
Mathras, Do you have a moment?
My dear, I have all of eternity.
Who are you exactly?
I am Mathras, immortal and unique.
Right. So why aren't you out there hanging out with your Deadwalker friends?
First of all, I don't have any pals. I'm a little too old for that. Secondly, I find your implication that I am associated with them most unpleasant. I have nothing in common with those dead things. I've been around for over 6,000 years, and I'm still very much alive, thank you. I admit this body is looking a little worn.
6,000 years old. Hey, you don't look a day over 250.
You flatterer. I did, however, lose a toe this morning. Nonetheless, these dead walkers are simply corpses that are animated by magic. Whereas I am an immortal spirit who changes bodies when they wear out. There's absolutely no similarity.
But that's awful. You steal bodies?
Alas, voluntary donations are hard to come by. If you hear of any, do let me know. I'm on the lookout. But if it reassures your delicate sensibilities, I generally choose dead bodies.
I want to ask you a couple of questions. What do you know about the Deadwalkers?
Apart from the fact that they're an incongruous mass of corpses with appalling bad taste that are animated through the use of magic, nothing. I can tell you that the power necessary for their creation, and to keep them working, is far beyond the magical abilities of any of your contemporaries. And since it's obvious they're incapable of any decision-making or strategy, they are clearly being controlled from a distance. All of which suggests the Ice Lords who are controlling these things are rather powerful. Something, I grant you, quite difficult to believe when one saw them start out at the same pitiful level of incompetence as their brothers, the Red Scribes.
In 6,000 years, have you ever seen a situation as desperate as this one?
Honestly? Well, no. You are, as you might put it, fucked. Or at least the mortals seem to be. But you carry something within you that may modify things somewhat. And it is this seemingly insignificant detail, this flap of a butterfly's wing, which may eventually change the apparently manifest destiny of the world as you know it. This demon, as you call it, has never before walked the earth. Neither he, neither it, nor any other of its kind. If they had, I would know of it, believe me. Consequently, and in spite of the evident futility of such a sentiment, there may be grounds for you to feel a slight glimmer of hope. That is, of course, if it is your desire to avert disaster.
Well, that's comforting. Why did you come to Carolthas?
Why not? There's one thing you should know about eternity. It can be rather dull. So I do my very best to be in the right place at the right time. The place where it's the most fun.
Fun. You think this is fun?
Well, distracting then, if you prefer. What do you expect? I'm just so bored. The End of the World is a show I wouldn't want to miss.
What happened to the Elven King?
I think he was simply lacking in strength of will and determination. They transformed him into an Arch-Lich. It's a particularly delicate and extremely dangerous magical process that could only be performed by an Ice Lord. It can only be performed on an elf, and then only one who is desperate to live.
How so?
Elves have many flaws, but most of them do have a very profound sense of duty. If an elf believes he is going to be tortured to make him reveal the secrets of his people, for example, he can literally will himself to die. It would seem that this king was desperate to continue living at any price, rather than dying with honor. That is what allowed them to turn him into an Arch-Lich.
Do you have any idea about what I am becoming?
In all my long lives, I've never seen your like. Even the term demon seems to be designed to cause confusion. I have seen real demons, when I lived as a war drum player amongst the dwarves.
Dwarves are just legend. You're yanking my chain.
It would be churlish to mock someone when it is so easy. Thus the dwarves did exist, and I was once one of them. They used to use these little creatures, barely the size of toddlers, in their enormous forges. They were little red creatures with tiny horns and a wicked air about them. You see, they were able to survive in the flames. The dwarves called them demons. You look a little like one of them, only much bigger. And you have an even more pronounced affinity with fire. I'm reserving judgment about the wicked attitude. I believe this affinity with flames is no coincidence. You are clearly a response, a weapon, and your purpose is to face the Ice Lords. It is entirely possible that you are the fruit of an attempt to rebalance the forces of nature. Alas, I have no idea which entity is behind all of this.
How are things with Sybil?
What a charming young girl. Her hunger for knowledge reminds me of myself in the distant past, when I was young and still living in my first body. I imagine that if I still felt any physical desires, I would happily give her a good few hours of one-on-one experimental physical training. And it seems to me that she's rather more interested in getting your attention. At any rate, she is by far the most interesting red scribe I've met in the past 300 years, though I fear that may not be much of a compliment, given their legendary incompetence.
They attacked the wrong person. How dare they condemn our king to such a macabre fate? My father. It's time for us to repay the Deadwalkers in kind. I want to see them destroyed, so not a single one of those dead ever dare set foot in our streets again. We're going to launch a massive assault to take back our city. It is time to turn the tide of this war. Vulcan, we will need you and your extraordinary abilities. We have to send a small group to open the city gates. I'm counting on you. I know that you can be stealthy and incredibly effective. A few soldiers will be going with you. This is our best chance. Black Frost doesn't seem to be here anymore, and most of his forces went with him. But before we launch the assault, we need to strengthen our army. I've been told there are prisoners in the city. If we free those soldiers, we can add them to our ranks. We're also going to need to get our equipment in as good shape as possible. We're fortunate that our smith has survived. Let us hope he'll be able to provide us with everything we need. But it's better to make sure.
Thou knowest that Black Frost's palace will take us to the World Heart, yet still thou doth waste thy time in vain battles. Thy stupidity knows no bounds.
Vulcan, I need your help.
What, sorting books? Observing swamp critters? You don't think I have better stuff to do right now?
That's not fair. I'm not stupid. I understand that what is most important now is the fight, and our soldiers...
The Freeborn Blades will do just fine. Don't you worry about that.
Not them, the other human soldiers.
What's wrong?
I'm not sure we can count on them. They've already lost the war. They're only staying here because the elves are protecting them. But they've got no fight left in them. They have to believe they can win. They have to fight alongside the elves and the Freeborn Blades. I've tried talking with them, but they treat me like a child. Maybe they would listen if you would talk to them.
Me? Most regular soldiers don't have time for mercenaries.
They just need to get their spirit back, boost their morale. I'm sure you could find some words to help them.
Vulcan, come here. I need to talk to you about something. While you were in the city, the Deadwalkers apparently began stirring. Several scouts have disappeared without a trace. They can't just have been ambushed by chance. Someone must have given their roots to our enemies. I'm afraid we have a traitor among us. Though if that's the case, I don't understand why we haven't been attacked by the Deadwalkers yet. What's really troubling is that these disappearances pretty much correspond to your arrival here, which means that your living dead friend is the prime suspect. Even if it's just as possible that it's one of the Red Scribes, or even one of your people.
And why can't it be one of your people?
Why would he do that? And above all, why would he wait until now to betray us?
With your army decimated, and hearing that the king's dead, A soldier might really decide that the war's lost, that there's no hope. Day after day, hoping for a miracle, that gives way to the darkest of miseries. And in the end, he's had it, and wants it over and done with.
Maybe. Regardless, we have to find the spy and silence him. You have demonstrated your effectiveness and discretion. Can you take care of this?
Of course. I'll look into it. The Deadwalker's sentinels are no longer a problem, for now.
It's a start, but the main door is still out of reach. But now we're free to approach the city and look for another way in.
Until the guard changes, or until they realize they haven't heard from them for a while and stronger patrols come down on us like a ton of bricks.
The die is cast. We have to go fast and be ready to fight to get our city back. If there is a way in, you can bet the Deadwalkers have secured it. Those abominations are everywhere.
Not necessarily. They're pretty careless when they don't have a general behind them telling them what to do. Victory will have softened them up a bit. As long as nobody raises the alarm, we should be able to count on that.
Let's hope so. And while we're on this subject, there's something else you can do for us.
Ask away.
The Deadwalkers still control the main road. One of the towers you took is near one of their barricades. When the undead notice they've lost contact with their sentinels, that tower will be the first on their list of places to visit, and it won't hold out for long. The soldiers I posted there will do their duty to the end, but if we could eliminate the barricade to gain as much time as possible, it would be a lot better for us.
Save your spit. The barricade's no longer a problem. It was in my way, too.
Really? Excellent. Now we can keep watch everywhere on the steps.
I've taken a tour of the camp, and it's like a sieve.
Huh. What do you propose?
Well, I'd be safer with a few dozen well-placed traps. Do you think you could build them for me?
I'll take care of that as soon as I get a second. You would know more about the Deadwalkers than us. Who do you think the spy is?
Walking around in a dead body doesn't make one an expert on all other dead things, young man. In fact, I find the suggestion vaguely insulting. But I have learned to trust my experience, something that you, despite your youth, should attempt to do also. I imagine we could quite easily reduce the possibilities. Firstly, the traitor must be able to enter and leave the camp without being stopped. Then, it must be someone who can observe your comings and goings without drawing attention to themselves. Lastly, it is someone who knows your plans, someone who knows your military commander's orders. That alone excludes a large number, particularly the undead here. In your place, I should go and question the camp watchman. Logic suggests they will have seen something.
Thanks for the tips. I'll get right on it.
Mercenary!
Has anyone gone by here? Any men leaving without passes? That sort of thing?
No, apart from you, no one. Is there a problem?
Your commander thinks there's someone sneaking out to meet up with the enemy.
That's terrible. Who could do something like that? Anyway, I promise no one's been by here. You should go try the other gate, near the mercenary camp. And maybe the sentinels in the North Tower have seen something.
Right, I'll make it quick. We're going to storm the city. With you, we might have a chance.
Knock it off, okay? Chance or not, I got no reason to risk my hide or my men's for that bunch of lazy bastards who, until now, have let us die without lifting a finger. Show us you're worth more than they are, and we'll see. Maybe.
What better way to prove my worth than a duel? That's how we settle differences of opinion in my company all the time. All right?
I got a guy who should make you happy. If you beat him, I might change my mind. With what you got under your belt, who knows? Well, you can really back up your words, mercenary. Who knows? Maybe with guys like you, we can actually win. We're with you, Vulcan. You can count on us for the assault. Well, well, you again. Can I help you?
Why the long face? Is something wrong?
You mean apart from the fact that my city no longer exists and I've lost most of my people? Sorry for being in a bad mood. I'm still alive, I should be grateful for that, but actually, I feel completely useless, and that makes me sick.
Looks like you've got lots to do, though. Even if your army doesn't have as many troops as before, they still need equipment.
Of course, and that's what's driving me crazy. I had to leave all of my equipment behind when I escaped, and there was no chance of getting it back. I can only sell the weapons the soldiers bring me. And when you think I had the best forge in Vertiel, Thormal Diamond Arms Hammer, can you believe it?
Seeing as how it means so much to you, I could get it back for you.
Really? You would be doing me the greatest of favors, and not just for me, for the entire army. I'd finally be able to work again.
Consider it done. An undead? In our camp? Aren't you afraid it'll communicate with its masters? Sir?
It's a calculated risk. Your friend Edwin told me that she can interrogate those creatures, so we captured one.
You really can do some pretty weird things.
Listen, Vulcan. We're not going to turn down any information. If we can find out how to haul our asses out of the fire, I don't see how it can hurt. Ready to make it talk?
If our fire breather doesn't need me right away, I can start getting ready.
Excellent. Let's start the interrogation.
Listen, Maggot Head. You're going to tell us everything you know.
That's not quite how it works, Captain. It can't just answer questions like that. Tell me what you want to know, and I'll dig around in its memory to find the answers.
In that case, why not dig everything out, so we don't miss anything?
Even for someone as skilled as me, that could take weeks. Its brain, however limited, is like an immense archive that contains both recent memories and memories of its past life.
All right. I want to know if that bastard Black Frost really has left the area.
Let me concentrate. Yes. I see him raising the wave and turning the whole city into ice. This soldier must have been at his feet. Then he gave the order to attack, and gave orders to several powerful undead. Apparently he left right after. He appears nowhere else in its memory.
What were the Black Frost's orders?
You have to understand that this creature's ability to comprehend is limited. From what I can see, it was told to keep watch over the city. He asked to be sent living people. Prisoners. The other living people must still be alive and under guard. Other prisoners. And of course, that he be informed in the event of trouble.
Does he know we entered the city?
This dead thing doesn't anyway. But that doesn't mean a thing, unfortunately.
What are those powerful dead you were talking about?
I see a flying creature, like the one in the swamp, and others. But the image is blurred.
So the army is being commanded by a tormentor now?
No, I don't think so. They make good spies, but poor leaders. That said, I don't see any real generals.
Nothing that looks like that one that attacked the village.
No, but Black Frost will definitely have left someone in charge. Someone he trusts. This soldier just didn't see who. I think that he... Oh no! He saw me!
Huh? Who are you talking about?
Well, well. Probing the spirits of the dead? You can well imagine that this sort of communication goes both ways. So, that's where my dear rebels are hiding, is it?
I must break the link! Right now!
Have you heard about all this spy business?
Yeah, the elf commander told me. They suspect us. Us and the Red Scribes.
Now that would be priceless. If that long-faced twat accuses us of being traitors.
Who do you think it could be?
I confess that at first I thought it was your pal who looks like you just dug him up.
Mathras? Honestly, I don't think so.
I agree. I realized that since he's permanently surrounded by the scribes, he'd have a hard job finding the time to betray us.
Do you think it's one of the scribes?
It's possible. After all, it wouldn't be the first time they've shagged us while we had our backs turned. But whoever the mole is has to know their way around and not be scared to go outside on their own. Can you see any of those snot-nosed weeds taking that kind of risk? The most likely, whatever Commander Pointy Ears thinks, is that one of his boys is a turncoat. Go and check with Buffalo. I saw him chasing one a while back.
Considering the size of him, I doubt he caught the guy. I'll go ask him.
The knight has come to ask help from his friend. While on reconnaissance, he spotted a convoy which he thinks should be stopped. A group of deadwalkers transporting an object. He thinks they should be attacked and the object taken from them while there is still time. The broken road will only slow them a little. The knight and his friend must get there as quickly as possible.
Okay then. Let's go for it. Buffalo, I have to talk to you.
What do you want?
You were seen leaving the camp. What were you doing?
What business is that of yours? Are you spying on me?
I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm supposed to be searching for a spy, and I need some clues.
I was just out on a little recon. I don't see how that can help you.
They told me that you were looking for someone.
Yes, the soldier who was on watch just over there. He left his post, was trying to follow him, but he lost me. He knows the terrain better than I do. I followed his tracks for a while, but considering the number of deadwalkers in the area, I decided to come back. I didn't want to give away our position.
Where did the tracks lead to?
Over toward the river, but don't bother. The guard already came back. He's just over there. You could go and ask him yourself.
I guess that's what I'll do. Thanks for the tip.
Can I help you with something, mercenary?
I was told you left your post.
That's... no, never. Who told you such a thing?
You think I'd tell you? Come on, tell me everything or you'll really be in the shit.
All right. I left, but only once. I was following your comrade, Buffalo. He went to the main gates of the city. I figured that was pretty suspicious. But I didn't dare go very far. I couldn't leave my post unguarded, you understand? And then the Deadwalkers didn't seem about to attack him. In the end, he went back without a scratch and without saying a thing.
That's funny. Buffalo says you're the traitor, and that the reason he left was to find you.
He's lying. He's the one. I've heard rumors about him. Some people say he's immortal. How else can you explain that he gets out of things every time?
You're talking bullshit. I've known him for years, and believe me, I've seen his blood get spilled more than once. He's got no reason to betray us.
Reasons? Since when have mercenaries needed any reason other than a good payoff? It said the Deadwalkers found you in the middle of a swamp. You don't find that suspicious?
You lie with every breath you take. It's time for that to stop.
Anyway, we're all going to die, today or tomorrow. What difference does it make? But I'm going to come back to life. My master promised me.
Yeah, and you'll be one more dead grunt in his army. Stupid idiot. Relmar, you got a minute?
Yes?
I built your traps. Okay, here are your traps. Now you just need to put them in place.
Thank you. I must admit that I'm relieved it was you who built them. I'd been living in fear of messing up my hairstyle permanently had I tried to do it.
Vulcan, I hope you've got good news.
Your traitor won't be a problem anymore. The bad news is you're down another soldier.
I take it you're implying it was one of our own. Who?
The one on guard below our camp. Rest assured he won't be telling anybody anything anymore. But he'll have to be replaced, I guess.
I'm sorry for the false accusations made against your comrades. Here, accept this gift as an apology.
Vulcan, I have to talk to you about Edwin. I saw you getting friendly with her. You should be more careful. She is not what she pretends to be.
I know she's not playing straight with us. She's got her little secrets, just like everyone else.
You don't understand. It's a lot more serious than little secrets. I found some very worrying information in one of the last books I read. 200 or 300 years ago, there were other groups of sages and magicians, like the Red Scribes. One of these orders was called the White Lords.
So you think that they were the ancestors of the Ice Lords or something? What does that have to do with Edwin?
I'm getting to that. The White Lords lived in the north of Vertiel, out in the ice. We know little about them. For a long time it was believed they had disappeared. But in reality, they somehow transformed themselves. And in one of the books that I consulted, I found an engraving of a woman, one of their leaders. It was the portrait of that witch.
It is suspicious. We'll have to check it out.
Since you seem so close to her, try to find out more about her past. How old is she? Where was she born? I don't know. Just something, anything that might give her away.
I will have to be careful so she doesn't get wise to me.
Keep me informed, but believe me, I'm almost sure it is her.
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
What do you want to know?
What do you think of Mathras?
I think he's absolutely unique, fascinating. I have always loved history and history books, but he actually lived through history. It's just incredible. There is so much we can learn from him. His knowledge could allow us to better understand what happened in our past. We could learn from the errors of our ancestors.
Do you really think he's immortal?
Oh, I'm convinced of it. You only have to look at him. He's so cultured and has so much knowledge. Which reminds me...
Something to do with our decomposing friend?
Yes, he won't talk to me about his romantic experiences. I managed to get a lot of stories about battles and all sorts of historical anecdotes, but nothing about his love life. It's not that I want to pry into his intimate life, but I do wonder why he's so reticent to talk about it.
I could always ask him for you. Mathras, do you have a moment?
My dear, I have all of eternity.
I want to ask you a couple of questions. Why won't you tell Sybil about your love lives?
I wouldn't have thought you'd be interested in the prurient questions of that young girl, charming as she may be. It seems to me that my sexuality is my own business, as well as which, I suspect my stories would be quite shocking to an innocent girl like that.
Come on, then.
I have been alive on Vertiel a very long time, and before I lost all desire of any kind, I think I probably experienced everything possible, both emotionally and sexually. To recount all my adventures to you in detail would require weeks, apart from which, it's out of the question that I should speak of these things out loud.
As bad as that?
You doubt my word? Very well. Let me tell you about my 14th wife, the Princess of the Elephant City.
For real? But that's... gross.
And those are some of my cleaner stories. I told you, I've tried everything. Perhaps now you understand my reticence with your young friend.
Exactly. So what should I tell her?
Whatever you wish. I will confirm whatever story you tell.
I spoke with Mathras. He finally agreed to talk to me about his love life. Well, lives.
And? What did he tell you?
He speaks well and everything. But deep inside, he's twisted. And you don't want to know more. Believe me, sister.
Oh, come on. I'm not such an innocent, you know.
Whatever you say, but some stories have to be whispered. Flesh. Special trick. And elephants. And then an ice cube. Plunged. And collect. A coconut. The crowd. And drink it.
I had never imagined people would want to do such things.
You wanted to know. Now you know. I need a bath. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
What do you want to know?
I've been thinking about the books and the library. I found a building that must be the library you were talking about. I think we should go there together. Shall we go?
It would be my pleasure.
Sybil, can I talk to you?
Yes?
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
What do you want to know?
Have you learned anything about the World Heart?
Yes, I found out a few things that might interest you. Some of the myths about the World Heart are based on real facts. Certain texts confirm that there is indeed a source of energy that fuels the world, but also that is the source of all magic power. Every time a sorcerer casts a spell, they are drawing power from the World Heart. The Ice Lords are siphoning this energy in huge quantities, and that is why they are so immensely powerful. If we can only discover how they're doing it, it may be possible to deprive them of all their power.
That sounds like a really good lead. Keep on digging. Anything new on the World Heart?
I think I just discovered something really interesting.
Tell me.
From what I've read, the World Heart is not in Vertial. Well, not really. It exists in a sort of other world next to us, in a sort of limbo, in fact. And it's impossible to get there without using an extremely complex ritual.
And can you perform it?
No, but the Ice Lords have discovered a way to create passages and to keep them open. And it's by using these passages that the Ice Lords are able to channel the power from the World Heart. But they're draining it. They're using more power than can be replenished.
Relmar, you got a minute?
Yes?
Here's all that I could find. I doubt I'll be able to find any more.
Each stone that you can recover is precious. I can't thank you enough for what you've already done. You're giving us back our memories.
I heard you managed to get back my equipment from the forge. I can't believe it. Do you have the hammer?
Yes, I have your hammer. Here. You can put it to better use than me.
Thank you. Finally, I can do something useful. All this battered and bent equipment is going to be superb again. At least our soldiers will die with dignity.
You got a weird way of looking at things. Anyway, I've got some supplies I could sell you if you need anything.
Excellent. Don't take this badly, but I have to get to work right away.
Excellent. See you later.
Get your shit packed. We're getting out of here as soon as possible. Our contract is over.
But Captain, after all we've done here...
Listen to me. We have no chance against the Deadwalker army, no matter what powers you have. And I'm not sending my company into a massacre. I didn't lead the company here to save this city. The only reason we came was to get our lads back. There was never any question of anything else.
God damn it, Captain. This is an important battle. You have to include the Blades in it.
Now you listen closely, Vulcan. I am the captain of this company. It's me who decides. You don't like it? Not my fucking problem. So either shut it, or become captain yourself. But you know what that means.
It means that I must face you in single combat. You don't leave me any choice. We have to put everything we've got into this battle.
You asked for it. I'll make it quick and painless. I always knew it would be you.
You didn't leave me any choice.
This was well done.
Let us go and seek out Prince Arundel. We must make haste to plan our attack.